time for Nerdgasm.
Hey, what's up guys? Jerry here, aka Barnacules, and today we're going to be reviewing the Apple iPad Pro, 12.9 inches.
Ladies.
Oh, and let's not forget the pencil. All right, let me start off by how I came by this thing. My friend was taking me out for an early birthday dinner, and we ended up going to Costco. And while walking around Costco, I noticed that they sold iPad Pros, which I didn't think Costco did. And they sold them a lot cheaper than the Apple Store. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna grab one and just check it out. It was purely curiosity.
And that 12.9 inch screen.
But after I purchased it, I realized they didn't have the pencil, which the whole point of getting the iPad Pro is the stylus, which should come with the damn thing, by the way.
Thanks, Tim Cook.
Just nickels and dimes, nickels and dimes. So anyways, we head over to Best Buy, which was right around the block from the Costco, and they did have the pen in stock, but lo and behold, they had the same iPad Pro for $700, which is like $200 less than what it should have been. Well, it turned out to be too good to be true, and it was mislabeled in the store, but luckily I got a manager and he gave it to me for $700. So I bought a second iPad Pro and then ran back to Costco and returned the other one. Don't worry, Costco was cool with it. I even explained that I was returning it because I found it cheaper due to a clerical error. Well, as you've come to expect from Apple, their packaging is exquisite and their graphics, oh my God, this photo of the side of the tablet.
Solid work.
I mean, honestly, they could have put the image on the side and then showed the front of it here. I still don't get this. All right, well, let's see what's inside the box, because that's what matters, right? There's nothing in here. Oh, that's right, because I opened it up yesterday so that I could use the thing all night and get a feel for it so I could give you guys an accurate review. None of this unbox it, plug it in, and power it on bull crap. Oh yeah, I already unboxed the pencil too. All right, so without further ado, this is the 12.9 inch Apple iPad Pro. This thing is massive. Just to give you guys a size reference here, I'm gonna hold up my iPad Air right here so you guys can see. That's the iPad Air, which is already a big tablet to begin with, next to the Pro. The first thing I'm gonna call out here is the epic screen. It is 2732 by 2048 resolution, which works out to 264 pixels per inch. This is a true Retina display, even at this size. Now, there is a 9.7 inch version of the iPad Pro that we're going to talk a lot about in this video, and that has a 2048 by 1536 resolution with the same pixels per inch. So it's just bigger screen, more pixels, but both have the same exact pixel density. So you actually are getting more screen real estate with this one. Now, when I bought this tablet, I thought bigger was better. It's the more expensive of the two tablets, and it has the bigger screen, so you'd think that it would be the better tablet overall. But you'd actually be wrong, because there's quite a few differences between this and the 9.7 inch version, such as the 9.7 inch version has a better screen that actually has 4 sensors that can detect the light and color temperature in the room and dynamically adjust the screen to match it. That's something that this screen is not capable of. It also has a much higher resolution. We're talking much, like 4K versus 1080p. Eyesight camera on the front and even better camera on the back on the 9.7. The cameras on this are barely passable, and honestly, I would say cell phones 10 years ago pretty much match what this thing's doing. Now, other than the screen real estate, you are getting a couple of cool things with the bigger tablet. You're getting an additional 2 gigabytes of RAM, so 4 gig total, and you're getting slightly faster clocks on the A9X CPU and the GPU inside of this bad boy. So it is technically slightly faster. Now, the 9.7 inch tablet is actually fairly new. It's about 6 months newer than this version that they released. So I think that from customer feedback, they figured out people wanted a better camera and they wanted a slightly smaller form factor. Because I will be honest, this thing is pretty unwieldy to hold. It's really, really thin. It's not very heavy, but just the size of it, holding with one hand is tricky. But I'll tell you guys where this thing really shines, and that is a drawing tablet. If you are an artist, oh my gosh, they figured out all the issues. I remember when this thing first came out, it had massive lag on the pencil, and they've solved that. Now it's almost a one-to-one experience. I would say it's even better than the Wacom tablets, which are like the gold standard for drawing. So of course, Apple wants to nickel and dime you, so you have to buy the pencil, and this little thing costs $100 US, which I think is absolutely ridiculous for any stylus. Now it does have a couple of cool features. For one, you can take the cap off to expose a lightning connector that you can then plug right into the bottom of the pad. And it's incredibly quick charging. For every 12 seconds that you leave that plugged in, you get 30 minutes of battery power on it. So anytime it runs dead, you just plug it into the bottom of the thing for a couple seconds or a minute, unplug it, and you're good to go. Now, when you first get the pen, you need to plug it into the laptop so that it'll start the pairing process. I pulled the pen right out of the box and just started drawing, and it didn't work, and I was getting frustrated with that. So, guys, they didn't really say in the paperwork, in the box at least, that I could see how to do that, but just make sure that when you get the pen, you plug it into the tablet. Don't plug it into the wall to charge. Now, if you do want to fully charge the pen off the wall for whatever reason, it does come with a little adapter piece here that you can actually put on the end of the lightning cable, and it allows you to take the pen and put it on the other side. So it's just a little bridge. And now you're charging the pen right off the wall. Now, the thing is, when you're charging the pen, you can't draw with it, which I thought was a little weird, but again, it's not really necessary considering how fast it charges. Now, quality-wise, the cap on the end kind of sucks. It doesn't stick on there very well. It feels kind of flimsy when you put it on there and move it. It doesn't feel like a really Apple quality product, but the rest of the pen is rock solid. From everything capped down, this feels amazing, and even the touch, when you're drawing on it, is phenomenal. It just glides across the screen. Now, I'm just in the notes program right here, so I can come down here and I can grab some different brushes and some colors. And one really cool thing about it is it detects the angle of the pen. So as you're moving it, you can do light pressure, and it'll just do a little, or you can do heavy pressure, and it'll do a darker line. Or you can even lay it on its side and go like this to like shade in areas. So it acts just like a real brush. And depending on the program you're using, whether it be Adobe or one of the inbox apps, you of course get different brushes and everything. But the speed of the tracking on this thing is fantastic, as you can clearly see from the video. Like for instance here, I'll sign my name really quick. I mean, very, very nice, glides really smooth, draws where you expect it to. I'm not exactly an artist, but you know, I can do some little stuff for like my son. He laughs when I do little faces and stuff like this. But, you know, it feels a lot like a pencil drawing on paper. It legitimately feels good. If you're an artist, you are going to fall in love with this thing. You can also switch the orientation on it. Just flip it towards you, so you can hold it in your hand. And one neat thing about this that I really like that I haven't seen mastered on a lot of other platforms is you can rest your hand on it, and your hand isn't going to start drawing. You can put your other hand on it, and you can zoom and move things around while you're drawing. So when I put my wrist on it, notice it's not just drawing, but if I take my finger, it'll draw. But if I have my wrist on there, it knows the difference, which I think is really cool, especially if you're an artist, because you're going to want to rest your arm on it and be able to do stuff like, you know, I'll just do a little demo. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, little underscore here, put a box around it. You know, I can do stuff like this, and I can rest my hand and keep moving it around, which I think is really, really cool.
Here, let's get a little sun up here in the corner. He's got a little happy smiley face going on. Let's go ahead and fill him in a little bit. There we go. How about we'll make it a little bit of a red sun. Just do a light little shading on there. I'm a terrible artist. Terrible.
But purely from a drawing tablet perspective, if you are an artist, this thing is fantastic, and it's actually cheaper than the Wacom offerings that are the dedicated tablets with the integrated screen. So I would say, if you're an artist, I would buy this literally just for the pencil experience. And you can see the tracking on it is amazingly quick. It used to be really laggy when it first came out, but they fixed whatever the problem was, because to me, this feels completely fluid. All right, so let me show you another cool feature. So like when you're drawing, you can actually have one hand on the surface bracing it while you're drawing, and notice it didn't do anything when I had my fingers down, but I can also put 2 fingers on it and move it around with the 2 fingers. Now you do have to release it to start drawing again, which I thought kind of sucked. I thought it'd be cool if while you were scaling, you keep your hands on it and draw, but you can see nothing happens. You do have to lift your fingers before it acknowledges drawing. Now, that might just be app dependent in this little notes app, but just something to be, you know, keep in mind. And you also do have an eraser tool too. Now, you can't turn it around and use it as an eraser like the Wacom stylus, is you have to actually select eraser and use the tip. But I kind of prefer that because all the Wacom stylus have a really plastic nubby thing on there, and it just feels weird touching it to the screen. Now, another cool thing is the pen works everywhere. You can use the pen to navigate through the menus, and it has twice the read speed of finger contact, so it's much more precise. But again, if you're like in an app and you're using a keyboard, you can hunt and peck with this, but this thing is so giant, you can literally use the on-screen keyboard. All right, so let's do a little test of the on-screen keyboard. This is a test. Oops, you already screwed up. Already screwed up again. See, it's still not good for two-hand typing. You can probably get used to it, but it's pretty slow compared to like a mechanical keyboard. But one cool thing about the iPad is you see it's got these 3 little dots on the side, and that's so you can actually hook up a external keyboard that's powered and doesn't use Bluetooth. But the problem is the Apple keyboard costs like $160, which is ridiculous for a keyboard cover. I mean, that's, oh God, I can't even think about it. And for Logitech, which is the cheaper solution that also uses that port, it's still over $100. Whereas all the Bluetooth keyboards literally cost between 30 and 40 bucks for the high-end ones. So honestly, I can't really justify the keyboard. I wanted to get one until I saw the price and I was like, yeah. And let's be honest, this isn't a laptop replacement. To some people, it might be for like sending emails and instant messages and social media, because that's what I'm gonna be using it for primarily. Also the drawing. The main reason I got it is I wanted a really cool drawing experience, which it's given me. But for the kind of money that you're spending on this, you would expect it to be more of a laptop-sided experience. Even though they claim that this actually will run the iPad Air applications from the iPad Air laptop. And the A9X processor is fast. Here, like, let me give you an example. Let's go ahead and run a benchmark on here. We're gonna run the 3D Mark Slingshot. Now, another thing that I would like to note is the speakers on this are amazing. You could literally sit in a room and watch a movie on this, and the entire sound range is beautiful. It doesn't sound anything like other tablets that you've heard. The speakers are legitimately good. Yeah, the lav isn't picking up the audio very well, but it wouldn't be a very good representation anyways. But it's got 4 speakers. It's got 2 at the top, 2 at the bottom, and 2 microphones. So the microphone sound quality is superb on this. It sounds beautiful. And so does the audio. Now, just for a quick comparison, this is my iPad Air running the same benchmark. Look how choppy that is. Doesn't that look like crap? It's like click, 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 click. It's like a little picture show. I mean, seriously, the frame rate on that is fantastic. That's about 34, 35 frames per second on extreme. This one up here is just chugging. Now we're just waiting for Sir Chugs-a-Lot here to give us a score.
Tick tock, tick tock, tick tock.
All right, here we go. Wow, a stellar 781. Good news, this is one of the most powerful devices around and everything seems to be working. What do you mean this is one of the most powerful devices around? It's a 781 versus a 3260. How could that be the most powerful devices around? Man, you can't trust 3D Mark, apparently. So guys, performance-wise, it's a slam dunk. The iPad Pro is quick, and like I said before, the larger 12.9-inch screen version does have the more RAM, the faster processor, and the faster GPU. They're both an A9X, but they just drive it harder in the larger tablet. Both of them have about a 10-hour battery life between the 9.7 and the 12.9, so that's not a factor. So what it really comes down to is what are you going to use the tablet for? Now, I personally use mine just for like email, social media, and a drawing surface because I really wanted that pencil drawing experience, and that's why I got it. So I think that this serves my purpose as well. But I would have liked to have had the better camera, and I would have liked to have had the screen with all the fancy light change and color temperature dynamic stuff, especially if you're an artist and color accuracy is important to you. That would be a leg up. So I would say if you're in the market for a tablet purely as a drawing surface, then I would get the 12-inch because just more screen real estate, more pixels. But if you're using it for everything, including FaceTime, taking pictures with it, and especially need that color accuracy, go ahead and go with the cheaper 9.7 because overall you'll probably have a better experience. Because I mean, look at this thing. It is gigantic. It's literally like ripping the screen off of a gaming laptop and carrying it around. Now, there are a ton of apps in the marketplace that use the pencil, a lot of art applications and photography applications, so there is no shortage there. But realize it's not going to run the desktop equivalent applications. You're not going to be able to put a full-blown version of Adobe Photoshop on here, which you can do on the Wacom tablets because they're basically x86-based PCs. And so your drawing experience is going to be limited to whatever apps are in the marketplace, but you can absolutely save those images and transfer them over USB 3.0 very, very quickly to your computer on the 12.9-inch tablet. In hindsight, I honestly wish I had have got the 9.7-inch. But then again, I saved a lot of money on this, so, you know.
Beggars can't be choosers.
So guys, I hope you're happy with my review of the 12.9-inch Apple iPad Pro. This thing is fantastic, especially if you're an artist, because the drawing surface out of everything I've used to date has the least amount of lag between where you touch the pen to the screen and where you get the reaction. You don't get that weird rubber band effect when you're moving really fast, which I simply adore. As far as the money invested, getting the tablet plus the pen, you're going to be on the high side of being able to afford a laptop. So depending on what your needs are, you may want to take that into consideration. And honestly, I even think the Surface 4 at the low end might actually be good competition to this. Maybe not in terms of raw performance, but for having the drawing surface and retaining all the full capabilities of a laptop. But for me, I buy a tablet to be a tablet. This thing is literally just supposed to be the easiest way to get from me to you guys on the social medias and allow me to draw and doodle little things and post them to you really quick. And this gets all that done. So as always, if you guys have any other questions, ask them down below in the comments or come over to Twitter and tweet me. I am at Barnacules. I'm also over on the Bookface thing and a couple of other social networks, and all those links are down in the video description. Also, I have a Q&A section in all my video descriptions, so make sure you expand that and take a look before you leave a comment, because who knows, I might have already answered your question. Chances are I have, if it's really common. All right, guys, well, it's time for me to go draw a lot of inappropriate things and send them to my friends. Till next time. You know what I'm gonna draw. Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please take a moment and subscribe to my channel. It helps me a lot. Also, come over to Twitter. I'm at Barnacules. I'm a real social guy. Also, if you have a couple of minutes, check out some of these many other videos. I made them myself.